So super excited that you guys are with us tonight, or if you're joining us on Facebook. We have lots of great information to share with y'all tonight. We have Connections Wellness Group with us here tonight. Amy Bolkins and Carolyn Thompson are here. And Carolyn is actually going to do our presentation for us tonight, giving us information about defining bullying and then tips of things that we can do to kind of help recognize signs in our kids and what we can do to help our students so we can deal with the issues of bullying and cyberbullying. Right, Carolyn?
Thank you. Good evening. Again, I'm Carolyn Thompson with Connections Wellness Group. I actually work in the Mansfield location. I am a program therapist. I work with ages right now 7 to 12, but I have experience with adolescents up to 18, adults up to about like 50. So, got lots of experience. I'm excited to be here with y'all. Question, are you bullying me? The big topic for today. So like Sebra mentioned, we'll be talking about defining bullying, seeing what is bullying, what is not bullying, and also how you can help as caregivers, parents for children that are getting bullied and also kind of the bullier. Okay, bullying, a word we commonly use in media, TV conversations, but what do we really know about it? Current statistics. 1 in 5 students K through 12 report being bullied. 54% of youth will not report it to the school personnel. Usually kids think it's something they can handle on their own or it's not truly bullying. And usually all of those need to be reported, and then the correct appropriate personnel will kind of sift through of like, okay, this is someone being sadly just mean, or this is a bullying incident. And then lots of teens skip school every day due to bullying. So that's kind of a sign that we'll talk about later. Of students ages 12 through 18, 15% report being cyberbullied. We've seen a rise of that, obviously, with social media and like TikTok, all the new things. So they're getting real creative with the bullying. Females report higher rates bullying than males. Women can be pretty nasty. Sorry. 6th grade students experience the highest rate of bullying. So how do I know? What do I need to look for? Clarify intent, clarify frequency, clarify 3 components of bullying behavior, which we'll go over. Recognizing bullying behaviors. So behavior that is unwanted and uninvited. So obviously I'm not asking to be called certain names. I'm not asking to do these things, or I'm not provoking someone to have that behavior kind of intentional. Bullies are usually seeking out a certain individual, group of people, maybe someone they're uncomfortable with, sometimes intimidated by, which is kind of a hard thing to grasp. Hurtful. Repetitive. That's the biggest component. If it's an isolated incident, usually it's not up to the par of bullying, which is hard to kind of grasp. It's like, well, that was a hurtful statement, whatever. But if it's intentional and it's repetitive, that's when it's going on to the bullying phase. Power differential. So physical strength, status, sometimes popularity, access to information. Oh, we'll go back to that. Access to information. I like to point out with the popularity, usually we're thinking, when I was in high school, I was on the dance team. So maybe like dance, drill team, cheerleader, football player, etc. But those social groups can look differently. So if I'm the head of like my debate team, or if I'm really involved with this group of people, any type of popularity, not just like the norm of popularity. If you've got a following, usually I call that popularity. Recognizing bullying and when it's not. So how do we identify behavior that is bullying and behavior that may be mean, rude, and a result of an isolated conflict? How do we help our kids do the same? So conflict. The 2 things, it'll be unplanned and isolated. Someone accidentally trips me when I'm in the lunch line. Then I kind of go at it and call each other names. Is that a bullying incident, or is that something just isolated and kind of a conflict? So that's just conflict resolution skills of like, hey, don't do that, or dang, I did do that, I should probably apologize. Same thing. Targeted statements based on fundamental disagreement between parties. All parties are actively engaged. So I did trip them, I was tripped, or I was kicked, I was bumped into, etc. And the desired outcome, of course, is resolution. So conflict resolution skills. Rude behavior, this is unintentional and isolated. So bragging about an achievement, if I'm in maybe a course or I got like an A and then the other person is sitting and they failed the exam, I'm kind of bragging about, oh, I got this A, but that's not a bullying incident. It's just I'm provoking, I'm bragging, etc., happy about the grade you got. And isolated. Disagreeing with you. Most teens and younger kiddos think that if someone's disagreeing with you, well, they don't like me, they don't have all these things, et cetera, et cetera. We go down kind of the rabbit hole. Not necessarily, it's just rude behavior. That society's probably like, hey, we need to chill out, kind of find something else to go around. Mocking behavior. Again, isolated and unintentional. So if it's an isolated mock event, that's usually like class clown type behavior. I'm just trying to get someone to notice me, attention seeking, etc. I'm cutting in line, so yeah. And then being inconsiderate. Whispering to someone in the presence of others. That one I like to point out. So rude behavior, again, repetitive is like the biggest theme I'll go off of for bullying. Should I get closer? Okay. If it's repetitive, then obviously that is intentional. I'm targeting that person. I'm going to keep going. But if I'm whispering, I don't like their shoes, I don't like their pants, that's just rude. So not a bullying behavior. Mean, intentional, but limited. Calling someone a name or pushing someone once during an agreement, playing a prank on someone, rude looks, and then someone laughing at you one time. Again, isolated, repetitive, etc. Are we seeing kind of the difference? Okay. Recognizing bullying behaviors. So this is behavior that is unwanted and uninvited. So usually kind of the opposite of those ones we kind of went through. It's intentional, hurtful, and repetitive. Oh, did I keep going? Okay, same one. 3 elements of bully behavior: repeated actions or threats, a power imbalance, and intent to cause harm. Power imbalances don't necessarily have to look like this guy is maybe super popular and I'm kind of what we used to think was bullying. It's now kind of evolved because we have cyberbullying. So you don't know what people look like. And so that power imbalance could be, maybe I have unlimited data on my phone. So I'm able to have all these accounts. I can make different accounts. I don't have monitoring behaviors from parents. That would be my power imbalance. So I like to point out that because usually power imbalance, it's like, well, this guy's bigger than me. He's going to bully me. Not necessarily. So recognizing bully behaviors, the power imbalance. Ability to influence other students' perception. So a good 56%, obviously higher than 50. I like to point out, again, it's just a following. So if I have a following and I can get people to agree, whatever, jump on my side, that would be like a bullying incident. Have more social influence, kind of the same. Are physically stronger and larger. That one I would just kind of be mindful of when we move into the cyberbullying, because eventually we don't know what they look like. So. Have more money. So again, with like that status, if I have like the iPhone, I don't even know what number we're on, 14, 15, and maybe I have like the 10, I could have that influence of like, well, so-and-so doesn't have this and they don't have these other things. What else do they not have? That's intentional, that's repetitive, and kind of that power imbalance. What does direct bullying look like? So we'll go through verbal and physical. Teasing, name-calling, inappropriate sexual comments, taunting, threatening, physical, hitting, kicking, spitting, pushing, talking, or taking and breaking things. So physically causing harm. What does indirect bullying look like? Social or relational, excluding someone on purpose, telling others not to befriend someone, spreading rumors, embarrassing someone in public. These are really big ones that you just see of like, oh, well, they're just kind of being rude. They're just kind of being mean. That's mean behavior. Actually, these are indirect bullying. So noticing the difference of like, wow, they really targeted that person and like made sure that everyone knew that they didn't like them, or they really tripped them on purpose, or they don't want to hang out with them for not really a reason that I can pick up. So noticing that's indirect bullying, and that can cause into like physical and also verbal. Okay, indirect bullying 24/7. Access to technology, social media, instant messaging. Bullying behavior no longer is limited to the schools. It's literally, I want to say the majority is cyberbullying, and we don't know it. I cannot monitor it because as a professional and clinician, I don't have their phones. I can only kind of stop the indirect bullying. And that's where parents, caregivers, your job is super, super important to kind of support us and our staff and Midlothian ISD with noticing, hey, my kid's like really doing some interesting things on TikTok. Or like that wasn't the nicest. It could be mean behavior. We can weed it out. But it also could be the start of indirect bullying or cyberbullying. Examples of cyberbullying. Sending me messages, threats, posting hurtful messages on social networks, posting embarrassing photos, recording unauthorized videos and uploading them, that says to the internet, stealing someone's identity, leaving someone out of online groups, creating fake online personnel to bully others. So this is a big one, the last one. A lot of people make fake accounts and they don't think like people are knowing. And so I know we've seen lots of movies where they have to like track the kid down and find out like who was in charge of this account. And it turns out it's like 5 people. So noticing, okay, I have my kid's TikTok. I have their email. Do they have a second email? Is there a second TikTok? Who else is on this? Just monitoring that on like caregivers, parent side. Super important. Okay, some more stats and effects of bullying. So 90% of students who are bullied offline are also bullied online. So it doesn't just stop in the schools and the hallways and passing period. It happens there and it also happens online. So thinking about maybe when all of us were in school and how that bullying was an issue, it's probably 10 times worse that our kids are facing with. I like to point out, what can you do? Take a stand. More than half of bullying situations end with peer intervenes. Usually it doesn't need to go up to kind of social supports personnel that you have here. Most people can take a stand for it and it's like, hey, that's not right. And they kind of knock it off. But we're missing that part of children feeling confident enough to step up and do that because we're not seeing it. Start a program. Schools with bully prevention programs can reduce bullying by 25%. October is actually Bullying Awareness Month and Unity. So just noticing that, hey, I don't see that in the schools. Talking to a counselor, how can we promote unity today? What can I do with my kids so they know that October is Bullying Prevention Month? What can we do? Making people aware of it and noticing what is bullying and what's just mean behavior can help them kind of differentiate the two when they're in schools. And then get everyone involved. Effective bully prevention involves everyone: students, parents, teachers, and community members. Impact of bullying behavior. So the target. Kids who are bullied have health compliance, poor school performance, fear, poor sleep/eating, and then also risk of suicide. For the bully, kids who are bullies may experience higher rates of aggression or destructive behaviors, drug and alcohol use, higher dropout rates, criminal activity, and also domestic violence. Again, that cycle continues with children and also kind of with adults. So if we've got kind of a hard home life, that kid is kind of taught or kind of brought up to be a bully, and that's how it kind of goes into the schools, and then cycle continues. The impact of bullying behavior with the bystanders. Kids experience a higher rates of drug and alcohol use, higher truancy, depression, and anxiety. Because think about it, if you're in a situation where you're seeing something happen, either if it's physical bullying or if it's online or if it's just indirect, you're uncomfortable. You don't know what to do and you don't want to come to school. So I'm going to say, hey, Mom, I'm sick today. Can I not come in? Or, hey, I'm feeling really anxious. I don't even know what to do because I feel unsafe. So is my child being bullied? Visible signs of anxiety and stress. We're calling out from school, not wanting to come in. You see them, I know a big one, probably like biting nails, or like you see a sudden kind of change in them physically. Not wanting to talk about it when it's asked. That's really hard with parents because it's like, well, I asked them, they said no. But if I ask them and it's like, no, I don't know what I'm talking about. Okay, you're obviously being dismissive, so I probably need to dig a little deeper. Unexplained bruising or cuts, damaged property, drop in school performance, attempts to stay home from school, and low self-worth. So I know I like to reframe in my group just negative statements. So it's like, oh, I don't like that anyways, or oh, I can't do that, oh, I'm so dumb, all these things. Well, why do you think that? Are you hearing that from someone? What's going on? So kind of digging a little deeper with those questions. How to help your child. The target. So bullying is likely not going to stop on its own. If a child is reluctant to tell you, find opportunities to bring it up. Fun things, TVs, movies, different shows. If you see like a commercial, maybe just start talking about it. That's the most kind of indirect, direct way, so they don't really know you're talking about bullying, but it's like, oh, me and mom did talk about that. What was going on? Have you ever seen this happen? Has this ever happened to you? I know they're kind of cheesy, but they work. And your child knows you care. So let your child know it's important to talk about it, either with you or with another trusted adult. So knowing those people in the school, those counselors that they can go to, hey, if it's happening, or if you think something's happening, do you know who you can go talk to? If you see something, do you know who you can go talk to? Because the bystander, the person that's being bullied, and the bully are all three important components. If your child is willing to tell you, just remain calm and open to hearing their side of the story. I always tell parents it's really difficult to hear any type of thing that's going on with your child because of the world we live in, but try your best to stay calm. Thank you for telling me that. I really appreciate you talking to me about that. We will work on talking about this later with maybe your spouse, etc. Offer comfort. How can I support you? What do you need from me right now? Can I hug you if you're huggers? Praise your child for talking about it. Again, I really appreciate you talking to me about that, etc. Remind your child that he or she isn't alone, and you will figure out what to do together. Again, engage the help of school personnel. So that first thing we kind of talked about, parents' responsibility, making sure that you're monitoring those things. Cyberbullying, super, super big and on the rise. And so if you're monitoring it and if you see something, you're like, oh man, I don't know what to do. Go find whoever is in the schools that you know can talk to your child about this, or just bring it to their attention, because some of them they don't know. They have a very high caseload, and so they can't keep track of everybody. So avoid approaching the parent yourself. I know this is really hard, but if you can, that's again with staying calm and open and knowing that we have people like Connections Wellness Group. We have a really good relationship with Midlothian ISD. We are welcome to help and come speak to anybody, and also your counselors on your campuses. Document incidents and responses. So if you see something fishy, you're like, okay, I don't know. Is it mean behavior? Is it rude? Let me document it and see, okay, a week later I'm seeing the same thing. Okay, maybe 2 weeks later, same thing. That's when you bring it to school personnel. Reach out to a mental health professional if your child needs additional support. Connections Wellness Group, if you like to. How to help your child if they are the bully. Parents learn of their child's behaviors from school or usually another parent. So on the flip side, if a parent does come to you and you're like, oh man, my child is the bully, what do? I never thought that would happen. Remain calm. Talk it out with your child just to gain insight, because usually it's a cycle. Maybe they had last school year where someone did that to them and that's all they kind of know. Do they want to fit in with others? Is she getting bullied? He getting bullied? Is he or she looking for attention? Negative attention is better than no attention, which is kind of hard to think about, but kids want attention, so they're going to get it any way they can. Is he or she overly assertive or impulsive? Usually it's like, I just said that comment, but I knew it wasn't right. I just talked about them because everyone else did. So, provide a meaningful response. So with cyberbullying, loss of phone privileges, in-person bullying, whatever you see appropriate. But just making sure that kids are understanding your choices have consequences. So, making amends. Help your child to correct the behavior by making it right. Apologize, do service hours, engage in positive social interactions. Monitor. So continue to monitor after that's been addressed. There could be, that was like their come to, Jesus, the Lord, higher power moment. And they're like, okay, I won't do anymore. Sometimes they didn't really get it. So just continue to monitor those accounts, all of those things. Connect with a mental health provider, because usually it's probably something deeper than that. They feel like the only way they can fit in is if they are the bully. So that's something to talk about. If you're the bystander, bystanders often worry about not knowing what to do, fear of making it worse, and their own safety, and then also becoming the target of the bully. So like, if I stand up for them, I'm going to be the person. Encourage your child to report the incidents, talk to a trusted adult, even if they can't get to the counselor. Teachers are well-trained on these things, so they can report to their favorite teacher, personnel. Speak up, even if it's a distraction. Provide an escape, ask if the victim wants to go somewhere else. So like diverting it. You don't even have to kind of engage or try to stand up for that person, but it's like, hey, we can go, etc. We can go to lunch. We can do this. Provide support. So check in with the victim and offer encouragement. And these are all things that if your child is a bystander, you can encourage them to do as well when they're in school.
It's great information shared with us tonight. We really appreciate it. So if you do have any other questions that you think of later, I know they did leave their cards on the back of the table, or you can email me here at the school district. It's Sabra, SABRA.golden, GOLDEN, at MISD.GS, and I'll be happy to answer any questions you have about anything that was presented tonight or just other concerns about things going on in the district or just other things you've heard people talking about. But we want to continue to have these parent use and share information with parents, trying to keep in touch with our students and find out relevant things that are happening on campus that we can make sure that we are partnering with you as we're raising our kids here in Midlothian. So thank y'all so much for being here tonight. We really appreciate your time.